I'm Juliet, and we're going to be talking about Mercury retrograde. More specifically, we're going to talk about some ways that we can make Mercury retrograde a period of time for healing and reflection and bettering ourselves rather than simply having it be an annoyance and a hassle. So, Mercury retrograde is what happens when Mercury starts to move backwards. So we have the pre-shadow phase, which is, in my mind, where we are going along a path that might not be right, or we might not be doing our, what we need to be doing with it. And then when it goes backwards, it brings us all these like annoyances and disturbances and inconveniences to dismantle like the things that our mind set up, because sometimes it's not action, sometimes it's just like negative, like little brain bugs that get in there, like negative thoughts and negative ways of thinking. And so it comes backward to dismantle that, and then it comes back forward, and then you build it right pretty much. So yeah, so that's a whole process. An astrologer who I really respect, called Alyssa Trahan, or on YouTube, The Divine Venus. She is the person who taught me astrology through her YouTube videos all the way back in 2016. And she has this whole system of like one planet retrograde will behave like a different planet direct. So by her system, Mercury retrograde behaves like Venus in the opposite sign. So Mercury is going to be retrograde in Scorpio and Libra, which would make it behave like Venus in Taurus and Aries. So you can keep that in mind as well. Yeah, so basically instead of being coherent in your thoughts, she in her system, she says that you must use your Venus qualities, use your body and your feelings and your gut to navigate. And I agree that whenever something is disrupted, you have to find another way to progress yourself within it. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I thought doing this would help, because it does get us out of our Mercury function, but it also gets us in a space where we're healing ourselves and basically tuning ourselves to function better afterwards. The purpose of planetary retrogrades is to bring to your attention places where you've had a misstep, or to show you people or things that you've held dear and make you reevaluate like how you really feel, what you want, why you were drawn to them. And that's why, especially during Mercury retrogrades, because they're the most common, but also Mercury is probably the most influential planet in a lot of ways. It's how your mind works, it's how you interact and communicate with others. Like, there's a lot that is just so part of our day-to-day. So during Mercury retrograde, that's why exes resurface, or like people you haven't talked to forever like reach out to you. It's not always negative, sometimes it's just to remind you of people who you've held dear and make you remember them. I mean, also like you can break things or lose things or find things that you haven't seen in like months or years. So it really asks you to look behind you and really evaluate it and see what you want to bring forward. There's a lot of nostalgia that can happen too. I feel like there are a few things during Mercury retrograde that I just kind of will re-watch, re-listen to, re-appreciate. So each individual Mercury retrograde will be different for each people. There will be some people who, if you were to ask them if things have been like weird or difficult the past 3 weeks, they'd be like, no, hardly even inconvenienced by it. And then there will be other people who will just have thing after thing after thing go wrong, like not a break, not a mental, no sign of respite, like they're just going through it. And that can be like how together they are, that can be like other aspects playing into it. And just because somebody experiences one Mercury retrograde really awfully doesn't mean that they will experience any other Mercury retrograde poorly. Like, I've had Mercury retrogrades where I broke my phone and I couldn't get a new one, and I had like no contact for like a month. And I've had some where I see like memes about Mercury retrograde and I'm like, oh, is Mercury in retrograde? I didn't notice. So it's like each individual retrograde is a very special, unique snowflake and should be appreciated. Just kidding, you don't have to appreciate it whenever things are rough, but it's like, you can't expect it to be one thing because it won't be the same. Even though sometimes a retrograde is like super mild and you hardly even notice that anything happened, there's also so many that are just uncomfortable. And this one, it has a lot of harsh aspects. This one that's coming up tomorrow, well, probably today. I probably won't get it up tonight. I might, who knows. But lost my brain. But yeah, this one is gonna have a lot of harsh aspects, and it's probably gonna be uncomfortable. And to be honest, a lot of Mercury retrogrades are uncomfortable, so if it's gonna be uncomfortable anyway, you might as well try and come out the other side in better shape. And so I want to do a wellness challenge for this Mercury retrograde. I know I'm not established, but hopefully a good amount of people join in, because I think this could help a lot of people. And I was hoping to divide it by the 4 elements: earth, air, water, fire. You know, earth representing like our bodies and our physical states and our physical spaces. And we'll have a whole list of things that we can do to have our earth element good. Our air, which is probably going to be like the most important one, since Mercury, well, honestly, earth and air, because Mercury rules Gemini and Libra, which are air and earth respectively. So I think both of those are something that is going to be heavy in focus. But also I didn't explain air. Air is like intellect and mind and mental health, pretty much. And then water, which is separate from air, is emotional health, because I think a lot of people use mental health and emotional health as the same like blanket category, but they're not necessarily the same. They count as the same thing because, you know, mental health is anything that has to do with wellness, that doesn't have to do with like your body, that can't be picked up in an x-ray, maybe an MRI, but you know, it's like the people at the hospital don't really know how to help you, but it really is like mental and emotional health under that same like blanket statement. But yeah, it's gonna be different things for the both of them. And then finally fire, which is your like energy, your vibrancy, like your drive, and that should be healthy too. So I think different individuals are going to have to focus in different areas. You know, like for earth, there's going to be a lot of things to do with like making sure your body is healthy, and there are a lot of people out there, not me, but a lot of people who are in a healthy body, like they eat well and they exercise and they have plenty of energy all the time, which physical energy and like fire element energy, it's like it overlaps, but it's not the same. Just like air and water, it overlaps, but it's not the same. For the earth element, we're going to be focusing on the wellness of our bodies, of our physical surroundings, of all the parts of our like tedious 3D reality, like money. We're going to focus on making that more healthy. And the kinds of things that we're going to do during this wellness challenge are not the kind of things that you really need to do long term, or that is even healthy for you to be doing long term, because the idea of this came about like in March, and I think that's where we had our last Mercury retrograde, and I was going to do this and see how it went, or at least I kind of wanted to, but I couldn't because I was moving, and that kind of makes it hard to do really anything. But this time around I have the time, and I wanted to invite others to try it with me, because even though I haven't done this yet, I get the feeling that it's gonna be good for us. And if it's not good for us, then I don't really have a lot of followers. Maybe like 10 people will do it, and then I'll realize that it was an awful idea and I'll delete the video, and everyone else who did it will forget about it too, because it was an awful idea. But I think it will be a good idea, because I'm going to be thinking about all the things that it's not healthy to do long term, like diets and stuff. It's really not healthy to be dieting or weighing yourself very often for a long term, because that can affect your self-image. But 3 weeks is not a bad time period to do that. Like if you're tracking your calories and weighing yourself for 3 weeks, that helps you understand how much you're really eating, and then you'll be used to it, and then you don't have to think about it so much for the next 3 months, and then, or 4 months, I don't know exactly how long. And then the next retrograde season comes in and you check in on yourself, and if you gained weight, you're like, oh, oops, I guess I better start counting and eating less. Or if you stayed the same, you're like, cool, let's make sure that I'm counting and see how much I'm eating. If you've lost weight, then maybe you want to think about upping your calories a little bit, because, well, depending, if you're overweight, then it's good if you lost even more weight. But there are people who are underweight too, and this exercise, so you're going to want to find your total daily energy expenditure, and you're going to want to eat that plus however much calories you burn. And if you're overweight, you're going to want a deficit of no more than 20%. And even a smaller deficit than that would be healthier. I mean, it's more important if you want to do this in like a longer term, but you shouldn't be in a big deficit ever. And if you want to gain weight, if you find yourself severely underweight, then you're going to want to find your total daily energy expenditure and then add 20%. And there's tons of fitness channels out there that'll help you figure out how to do that. You search in the YouTube bar, and there's going to be a lot of people who know how to do that. But that's part one, and then you're going to track your calories, track your weight, check in. And if you're at a healthy weight, you don't really want to do this. You're like, this is a part of me that I don't have to focus on, that I don't have to fix. And we're gonna be exercising, everyone has a different fitness routine, and you don't even have to exercise per se, but we're gonna go on walks, and we're gonna make sure that we're moving. And finance. So Mercury retrograde is a famous time period for making bad decisions and bad financial decisions. So we're gonna take this time to not buy things. We're gonna buy food and gas and like maybe some stuff, but we're not gonna make like big purchases because that's a bad idea. And I pulled some cards the other day. I put them back in the deck, but I dug them back out because I wrote down which cards I pulled out. So for the Earth, the first card that I pulled was the Eight of Wands, and that is movement. So I was asking, like, what can we do to work with our Earth element wellness? So for Earth element wellness, we can increase our Eight of Wands, our movement, our speed, you know, walking, running, dancing. I like to think that I weight train, but I never do it, so, you know, if you have the capacity, obviously gyms are not the best. And I pulled the Star, and the keyword that I got from this was revitalization. So she's just sitting here living her best life by the edge of the water, so you're gonna want to live your best life by the water. You don't have to go to the beach or anything, but I mean, I imagine if the Star was like in a house, she'd have like a face mask on and a hair mask. She'd be like doing a pedicure, like self-care. You're gonna want to like do whatever it is that like relaxes you. You want to relax, and when you are relaxing, you want to feel like you're really recharging your energetic batteries. You're gonna want that. And then got the Nine of Pentacles, which means that just because we're trying to watch what we're eating doesn't mean we want to deprive ourselves. You've got to bask in your bounty. You want to like enjoy yourself, be luxurious and aware, but luxurious, and you want to embrace plenty. You want to have a gratitude mindset, and yeah, because gratitude is like how you attract abundance too. So you want to be trying to attract abundance. So even though I said about like not wanting to like make big financial decisions, like big purchases, that doesn't mean you don't treat yourself. You know, like maybe now is not the time to put a down payment on a car or a house, but you could buy a bath bomb, you know? And then justice, which means that a really important part of the earth element wellness, self-care, getting it back together is going to be honestly evaluating your progress and being very aware of what you're doing and judging it impartially. Like, it's okay if you have a few days where like you get fast food every single day. Don't feel guilty about it. Just be like, that was not what I want to be doing going forward. That was really shitty of me, and I'm not gonna do it anymore because that's not what I want. So the next one is the air element. I asked how we could improve our wellness through the air element, and I got 3 cards. They all kind of negative. So first we've got judgment, and I think it's just about, it's kind of along the lines of justice, like an honest evaluation of like where you are and what you're doing, and you know where your mind is. Like, I think for the air element, I think journaling is gonna be a big thing. Like, some people can journal long term. I've never really been able to keep a journal long term. I think if I have it in my mind that I'm going to be doing a Mercury Retrograde journal for 3 weeks, and then I don't have to do it anymore. I'll be able to keep it up, because usually I journal for 2 days and then I never touch it again. Use an old notebook. Don't buy anything new. You don't need it. But yeah, a big part of it is going to be being honest with yourself about what you think. That's another thing. Everyone thinks that they know what they really think about things, but people are not honest with themselves about who they are and what they think. And I think a lot of people are ashamed of it, but you don't have to be. You just have to be honest about it. Even someone who loves violence, for example, they don't have to be ashamed of that. They just have to accept it and find healthy outlets so that they don't suppress it and then hurt somebody. It's just, people gotta be honest with ourselves, because be honest with yourself for your mental health. And then there's the Tower. Sometimes our mental health sucks because we're in a burning tower. Being honest with your circumstances, being honest with yourself about that is important too. And I think what the Tower is telling us is, if your mental health sucks and you don't like where you are, you have to leave. It's just, I understand that not all of us have the capacity to leave, but there's some situations where the only thing that's going to help your mental health is to get out. So that's what the Tower says. If you want to fix your mental health, you have to leave bad situations. And then we've got the Four of Wands, and it came up in reverse, which, upright, he's super proud of himself. He did something good. He's excited. But upside down, maybe he still did that good thing, but he is not proud of it. He feels like he can't be proud of it. It wasn't good enough. You have to stop that. You have to look at yourself and be like, you know what? Maybe I should be proud of this. Maybe I am scared to be proud of things. Maybe I was not allowed to be proud of things growing up, but I've done things to be proud of, and I should be proud of them. So, be honest about what you think and who you are. Leave toxic situations, and be proud of yourself when you do something good. It's important. Emotional health, we got so many, I think. I'm gonna check my notebook. Yeah. So, for emotional health, for water, what came up was this lady, High Priestess, just trusting your intuition and listening to yourself. You gotta do it. You gotta, if you don't listen to yourself, then you can't be surprised that your emotional wellness isn't where it is, because you don't believe in yourself. And if nobody believed in you, trusted you, they made you doubt yourself before, you just have to, and this is more of a mental thing, know that they're wrong and that you do deserve it. Knowing that what happened in the past is wrong can be the first step to getting better from it. And I think journaling is another one that is for mental and emotional health, but more mental and emotional. Trust yourself. When you feel something, don't push it down. When she feels something, she knows it's for a reason. If she feels sad, then she knows that there's a reason to be sad. If she's happy, it's because there's a reason to be happy. She doesn't question her feelings because she knows they're true. We've got this one, which It's, I think, along the lines of the mental health, we can kid ourselves a lot. We can trick ourselves with our feelings. We can say, oh, I don't really need to be sad about that. Or, you know, that wasn't really anything to be proud of. Or, you know, that person, they said some mean things, they hurt me over and over again, but they deserve access to me. They deserve a second chance. You can't kid yourself. Like, along the same lines of her, like, if you're not trusting yourself and being honest to yourself, then nobody's gonna tell you the truth, because, to be honest, like, a lot of people benefit from us not being honest with ourselves, and none of those people are us. But some nicer cards coming up now. Got this one, Six of Cups, and I read it as like nostalgia, like feed your inner child. You know, think of things that used to used to make you happy when you were like a kid or a teenager. Like, if you had a show that you watched, you were like 13 and you loved it, like, watch it. Spend some time watching things that made you happy. Listen to the music that you loved when you were in high school, like, just, like, and I think it can be like a little bit, and you can take it into the deep darkness if you like, you know, I think none of us escaped our childhoods unscathed, so processing those wounds is important too, but just do things that you miss. Do all the things that you weren't allowed to do as a kid. Not all of them, but, like, you know, like all those things that you thought would be so cool to do, and then you grew up and you never even did them because then you're grown up and you're boring and you don't care anymore. Whatever that is for you. And then another Six of Pentacles. Generosity. Sometimes the best way to help ourselves is to help somebody else. I mean, obviously this person isn't getting walked on. He knows his worth. He's not down in poverty with them, but he's helping them, and it's making him feel better, and it's helping them too. Like, helping people is good for you. It's good for your emotions. It makes you feel like you're a good person, and you should feel like a good person because you probably are. Or at least you have potential to be. I think we all have potential to be good. I think we just hurt people when we lie to ourselves and we kid ourselves and we suppress who we are. I think every single person has potential to be good, though. Next up is Ace of Cups. A lot of cards came out for this. And I read this as creativity. So doing art, singing, playing, having fun, being creative, that's important. It's something that you need to do to get your emotional health in order. And the last one for emotional health is Three of Swords, grief. Sometimes bad things happen to us and we're too busy to feel our pain. And it pokes at us when we aren't expecting it and don't know what's happening. So if there's bad things that happen to you that you never really addressed, that you kind of cried once and moved on with your life, or maybe even like didn't even give yourself time to feel, maybe just picked up all the pieces because someone else needed you to be strong, take time to not be strong. Take time to cry, to feel your feelings. Write them out. Write a song about it. Write a poem about it. You know, maybe punch a wall about it. Whatever you need to do. And finally, fire. Fire. What to do for fire? to feel your fire, your drive. I think fire is a youthful energy too, your youthfulness, all that. Page of Swords. Explore your little things that, you know, pop up in your head. You know, make those weird Google searches, no one cares. Research something that you thought was super cool but never important enough to research. And this one. You don't have to be serious about it. You can see, like, you can read them as serious, but in a lot of ways, there's a chance that they're just playing. They're just messing around. They're seeing who's strongest for the heck of it. It doesn't really matter who wins. You're competing because it's fun. Competition does put fire in our bellies. It can drive us forward. So, I mean, it's not healthy for everything to be a competition, but if there's something that you need to do that you used to be excited about that you're not excited about anymore, maybe find someone else in your same boat and make a competition, a challenge. Do challenges if you feel like your fire's not good. Ace of Swords. I had trouble interpreting this one. I think I just put down mental fortitude. Like being strong in your mind in spite of everything, but I mean, I guess it could be that. It's just, again with the swords. It's funny, there's more swords than wands in the one about your fire, which, I mean, if you think about it, air does fuel fire, like your creativity, learning things that gets you excited, that drives you. It, you know, it gets you excited. And so, just doing things that make you excited. Following those weird rabbit holes. And not thinking of it like, oh, I wasted so much time for following a rabbit hole about aliens and conspiracy theories. Thinking about it more like, wow, I learned so much about aliens and conspiracy theories. I never was gonna give myself time to do that, but I did. I followed that rabbit hole, and that was pretty neat. You don't have to do anything with it. You just have to let it get you excited. And then Wheel of Fortune. I see Wheel of Fortune as like the ultimate expression of change and accepting change. Like, getting yourself excited, a big part of it is enjoying the change. Like, and there were two like change cards. There was the Tower and the Wheel of Fortune. So like you should change things. Like, maybe not something major, like you don't have to move across the country, but like doing things that are different. It's good for your mind and it's good for your soul. Breaking routine, because I mean, what Mercury Retrograde tends to mess up our routine anyway, so why not do things different? Have fun. But that's all the tarot cards I pulled. So, in conclusion, the next few weeks we're gonna journal our thoughts and feelings. We're gonna learn how to be honest with ourselves in the deepest way. We're gonna learn how to trust our feelings and our intuition. We're going to change things up, and we're going to do things that make us excited, and we're going to change things for the heck of it, and we're going to become more aware of our eating, exercise, and financial habits. So that sounds fun. I hope you guys participate. I hope you get a deeper understanding of who you are. I hope you can understand what you want. I hope that you learn how to be more yourself, more the version of yourself that you really wish you were. I will hopefully speak to you soon. I plan on updating you guys periodically on how I'm doing. I'm not gonna promise a schedule, but this new phone, so I got a new phone. I'm gonna put this on the channel with a couple of videos on it, and I thought about making a whole new channel, because the other one was just nothing, but I'm gonna put it on the same old one. And the reason that I didn't do anything with that one was because I had an old iPhone and it could only hold like 3 minutes of video footage, so I had to like edit things and publish. It was bad. But I have a new phone and it's got plenty of storage, so that should make things a lot easier. So hopefully if things are easier, then I'll do them. And I plan to update you guys on how it's going, and I'll talk to you soon, and I hope you really enjoy this, and I hope that it's really good for you. Yeah. Have a nice day.